Thank you for coming. This is our monthly school committee meeting. Per the school committee policy, you have to wear a face mask. It's required inside school still. And there's a link if members of the public are wishing to view this. So at this time, I'd like to do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Our first item is the public comment for agenda items only, meaning it has to be on this evening's agenda to speak at this public comment. Do we have any public comments? Oh, we need a minute. Okay, thank you for your help. The first person to call up is Lori Elias.
Am I good? Okay. Thank you for the opportunity to briefly say a few words in support of the proposed increase in the rate of pay for substitute teachers staff, particularly those like me who work as a building sub, hold a bachelor's degree, and who effectively work every school day. Although I am not RIDE certified, I think that you would be hard-pressed to find anyone that I work with who thinks that I am not as capable as someone who is. I take my job and the responsibilities that accompany it very seriously. I have not missed one day of work since we have started. I am asked consistently by other teachers and school districts if I am available to sub. When I was temporarily taken out of ASOP this morning so that I could be put into the system as a teacher I was covering for this week, my phone didn't stop ringing. There are over 50 available positions, of which at least 30 were in the Warwick school system. I hope that you recognize the value of your substitute building subs and substitute teachers and approve the recommended pay increase. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. The next to call up is Darlene Necco.
Hello, Darlene Netco. Dr. Cecil wants me to run off the usual list, so I'll say lifelong resident of Warwick, graduate of Warwick Public Schools, homeowner, taxpayer, voter, teacher of English of 34 years, president of the Warwick Teachers Union. For agenda items, I first want to congratulate Susan Houle for being nominated for our Teacher of the Year. She's been a dedicated teacher in this district for many, many, many years, and I think she's very deserving and worthy of the honor. So congratulations to Susan. I also want to comment on agenda item number 1, the extended day academies. I think that was a very good idea that the administration had to put these academies in place to try to compensate for the learning loss that we know occurred and is still occurring because of COVID and the pandemic and the conditions that we've been teaching and learning under which we've been teaching and learning over the past a couple of years. So that is something that hopefully we can continue until we maybe have the data to show that the learning loss has been mitigated to some extent. And then finally, I want to talk about agenda item number 16, the Hmh Literature Program for our high school English departments. I've mentioned this before. It is too bad that we couldn't have taken care of this last year. Unfortunately, for whatever reason, Rhode's new procedure, our previous administration, the administrator in charge made a decision to go with one program, Study Sync, which the high schools deemed to be entirely useless and really horrid for the teaching of high school English. And if we had followed the procedure that we used to follow in this district when Kathy DeRocha was our ELA coordinator, we would have piloted at least 3 programs simultaneously. And we wouldn't have had to start with something different in the fall, find out that that really wasn't meeting our needs either, and then try out this HMH. And really, we haven't had a whole lot of time with this program. What we've seen, it is better than the Study Sync and this Savis thing, but it still isn't, I don't know how in the long run it's going to work out. Warwick did a wonderful thing and got this grant, but then didn't do a very good thing in how we went about trying to choose a program for it. Now, I know right now at the elementary level, they are piloting an ELA program. I'm hoping that that pilot is going better than the pilot we did at the secondary level went last year. I think, though, the academies, the new programs, the revision for curricula that's occurring at the secondary level, these are all testaments to the fact that our administration is putting academics first and placing, a high degree of importance on the academics. And I want you to know the teachers, place the same high degree of importance on the academics. So I'm hoping that we can continue all working together. Warwick gets a bad reputation, unfortunately, and we shouldn't, because we do have wonderful teachers in this district going to work every day under, strenuous circumstances, and we do have some very dedicated and wonderful administrators working with us to try to do the best we can for the students in Warwick. And I just want to acknowledge everybody's effort in this regard. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We'll move on now to recommended actions. Approval of minutes of public sessions, January 11th, 2022.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
February 1st, 2022.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Approval of warrants, February 8th, 2022.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And approval of transfers, February 8th, 2022.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And now we'll do the announcements, and personnel is presented. Mrs. Ruggieri.
Good evening, Madam Chair and members of the school committee. Tonight, we have one resignation that will require a vote. Donna Moretti, a school nurse teacher at Lippett Elementary, effective January 21st, 2022, excuse me.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. And we do have some courtesy announcements for some appointments. We'd like to welcome the following. Donna Rogers as the night custodian at Veterans Middle School. Matthew Daly as the carpenter maintenance mechanic in the maintenance department. William Giocciola, the night custodian at Warwick Neck. Emma Barabalt, teacher assistant in the primary IASE at Hoxie. Kimberly Hornby, school nurse teacher at Lippett. Marwa, Abdulatif as the Category 2 math interventionist at Greenwood Scott. I apologize for mispronouncing that name. And finally, Robert Anastasi, the library media specialist at Windman. So I'd like to welcome them all to the district. And now I'd like to turn it over to Superintendent Danberg.
Yes, Madam Chair, members of the school committee, it is my pleasure to welcome Toby Gibbons as the interim principal of Pilgrim High School. Mr. Gibbons has served as the principal of East Providence High School, and before that, he was the assistant principal of Narragansett High School, where he won the assistant principal of the year. So, Mr. Gibbons, we're so happy to have you. Welcome to Warwick, and could you stand in?
Welcome, we are all here for you.
All set, thank you.
Excellent. We'll move on now to the recognitions. We have the 2022 Presidential Awards for Excellence in Mathematics and Science, Teaching in Mathematics nominee Susan Hoyle, Hoxie School. We have a 2002 Outstanding Principal of the Year nominee Frank Galligan of Warwick Neck. Mrs. Cousino.
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the school committee, members of the board, and invited guests. We are definitely here tonight to celebrate. Darlene, thank you for the kind words, and congratulations to job as elementary. I get to celebrate the most tonight. We are here to celebrate, as you've already heard. Susan Houle has been nominated for the Presidential Award for Excellence in Mathematics and Science and Teaching. So if she could come forward, that would be great.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Hang on, we have a photo moment. Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, they all come down and take pictures.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Congratulations. Thank you. Well, you did. Thank you.
Can I get a picture of you, please?
Yes.
Right in there between all the words.
Okay. I don't want to. Okay. Yeah, you go in there. I'm smiling.
Nice.
Thank you, Susan.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Do you want to say anything, Susan?
No, just thank you. Sorry. Oh, Gary has a few words.
Good evening, everyone. I've had the pleasure of knowing Sue Houle as a teacher at Hoxie since 2011. She's a very dedicated teacher that is especially strong in teaching mathematics. Sue actually teaches all grade 5 students math at Hoxie since we're team teaching. Our grade 5 students consistently show tremendous growth on the iReady math scores due to Sue's teaching. Our 5th graders are always well prepared to take the next into middle school. Sue analyzes data to drive her instruction. She has data chats with her students. Other Hoxie teachers reach out to her if they need help with an iReady report. I've seen her in action several times over the years, and I'm always impressed with her high-energy teaching style. It's like she's on stage when she's teaching. The students are truly engaged and motivated. I'm proud to say that Mrs. Houle is a part of our Hoxie family, and I can't think of a better teacher to be nominated for the Presidential Award for Excellence in Teaching Mathematics.
It's an elementary thing. Thank you, and congratulations, Sue. Well deserved. We're continuing in our celebrations with the nomination for Outstanding Principal of the First Year, nominated by Gary McCombs, near and dear to my heart, Warwick Neck, Mr. Frank Galligan. Could Frank come on up? And that's all the celebrating I have for now.
Congratulations to you both. Any comments before we move on? Okay, wonderful. On to new business. First item is discussion update, extended day academies. Mrs. Cousineau and Dr. Schultz.
Good evening again, Madam Chair, members of the school committee, invited guests. Yes, number one up for discussion is our extended day academy. I do have a quick slide presentation. If you guys would like to rearrange your seats, I think you'll enjoy the data on the slides.
You have to go sit in the audience.
Okay, so I have the information about the elementary extended day academy. I'll start there first. First of all, I want to recognize and celebrate. Well, I guess the celebrating's not over. I want to celebrate Nikki Green. She's one of our math interventionists, and she was recognized in the Beacon last week. John Howell came out to Holloman and wrote an article. It is attached to the presentation for those of you that have not seen it. Nikki had been doing our 4-week extended day academy in the morning called the Breakfast Club. The kids really enjoyed it. They brought their bag of Dunkin' Donuts or their bagel, and she did a math program which was embedded with literacy as well. She did use this new series of books that we purchased called Math by the Book by Sue O'Connell that Dawn Manchester had helped us to purchase. And Nikki actually went out and bought the supplemental books that went with the program. And she read one book a week, and then she did the math activities that went with it. And Nikki has actually been retweeted by the actual author, Sue O'Connell, and Heinemann Books. So we're super proud of Nikki and all the hard work that she's been doing and helping to get our math interventionists, our full-time math interventionists on board. So if you have not seen that article, it's a good read. Round one for our elementary extended day academies, we had 11 of our 13 schools participating. We had approximately 288 students with 38 teachers. And while we did celebrate math and ELA, it did have an SEL component. It wasn't as necessarily data-driven as it could have been. We were really soliciting students based on a lot of different needs. So there wasn't any one data point that drove this round, but it was definitely worthwhile, and you'll see why. I went out to all 11 schools or thereabouts, and I saw great things. The kids were really enjoying themselves. We have a couple of girls up at the top there over at Cedar Hill who they were reading some biographies, and they were making posters for Rosa Parks. And then again, you can see the math by the books. Wangari's tree. I know Nikki's group did plant some seeds as well. And then we have, I needed 2 slides. We had so much great stuff going on. We have Chris Rahill over at Cedar Hill as well, and some others. So we decided on day 7 of the 8-day program to survey our kiddos and find out what they thought of the program. So this is a very brief summary, just to kind of glean. These are what I call our littles, our students in K through 2. And up to today, I had 36 response. The club helped me to learn. I enjoyed it. How am I doing in reading and how am I doing in math? And you can see the first column, a lot is greater than a little or not sure. The next slide, we look at our bigs. Those are our kiddos in grades 3, 4, and 5. To date, 145 responses. And again, if you just notice that the numbers in the a lot column are higher than the numbers anywhere else on the chart. I enjoyed the club. I worked well with my classmates. I learned something in ELA, something in math. And would I participate again? 120 out of 145. And that's from the kids' perspective. The next survey we sent out was to the teachers. To date, I have about 21. I think up today I got a few more trickling in, but I didn't have time to change the data, so I apologize if yours is not included. It was anonymous. Again, I enjoyed teaching in the after extended academy. It was a unanimous 21 out of 21. And then we broke it down by ELA and math. We gave them an additional hour of planning in addition to their 2 hours of teaching. So they had, it was a 3-hour-a-week program, but they felt that they had enough time to plan. And 16 of them used some of this time to do small group instruction. The classes were capped at 12. Most classes had about 8 students. 20 of them felt that they had adequate materials. We really tried to promote those math by the book books as well as other materials. 7 of them thought that they would like more set curriculum, so we'll certainly be offering that in the future. Again, 10 of them did use those materials, and 19 out of 21 said they would love to sign up again. I did specifically ask the teachers for specific feedback, and yeah, I don't know if you can see it down at the bottom of the screen, but the teachers said they would definitely like smaller class sizes, maybe lower than 12, somewhere between 6 and 8 students. They definitely would like longer than 4 weeks, maybe 6 to 8 weeks, and they would like to target the students by needs, so it's definitely going to be more data-driven in the future. We also surveyed the parents and the guardians, and again, the responses to date was 76, and most of them were in the yes column. Did your child learn anything new? Did he or she connect with their teacher? Did they enjoy the club, and would they join again? So again, the data is right there. The only thing I should explain is the fixed 56/19. It was a 4-point rubric scale, and 1 and 2. There was 56 in the first and 19 in the second. But those were both still in the positive end of the spectrum. Some of the feedback from the parents or guardians is if they had siblings, they would please, please, please love the same time slot. We did offer a morning club and an afternoon club, depending on the teacher's needs, and the parents are just hoping to have their kids in the same time slot if we were to do this again. They loved all the hands-on learning. They thought that that was great. And they would definitely like more feedback on their students' progress. If the program were longer, they'd like to see progress over time. We did survey our principals. We had 11 sorry about that. We did have 11 responses. Again, all the principals felt that this was a worthwhile benefiting to the students, and they would certainly be happy to host this program again. Again, they felt that 4 weeks wasn't enough, so they'd like to see us offer a 6 to 8 week program. They would definitely like to see more AM classes. They really thought that this centered or grounded the students for their day and really set the tone for a positive day. They would definitely like some curriculum options for those that may have not sure which way to turn. And if there was any trouble, they would like makeup sessions if the classes needed to be canceled. We did have a couple of COVID-related cancellations. We had a snow day one day, and actually we did have someone who, a family member had passed away. Long story is, short of it is, will there be a next round? And the answer is definitely yes. We are currently working on the details, and I have a principals meeting tomorrow, so we will be sharing some of that information at the principals meeting tomorrow. So stay tuned, and I can't thank those teachers and principals enough, those families, those students, for joining our extended day program. It was definitely well worth all of the effort, and I look forward to round 2.
Good evening, everybody. So my presentation is a little bit different. We have also run the academies at the middle and the high school level, and we've had about 10 teachers participate during this round. This week, I have sent out surveys to all the same constituents that Mrs. Cousineau did, and so I will have that data for you at the next meeting. I am hoping that the teachers that partook, it's kind of a strange word, isn't it? Yes, a little bit, that they want to do it again, because the students seem to really enjoy it. And so I have a couple pictures to show you from the academy, specifically at Winman. But I did want to go over something very exciting to share with you, and that is the middle school mid-year data. So if we look at Winman, in the fall, the reading scores, you can see the triangle, and this is called the 3-level placement in iReady. Every student is tested in reading and math, and so Winman in the fall had about 36 students in the green, which means that 36 students were on or about grade level. They could be at the early stages of the grade level through advanced. And then I want to compare how we did here. We went up to 43%. So if you look, that's up 7% in green. That's a huge increase. But what I'm really proud of is the amount of students in the red, which means they're 2 or more grade levels below. That went down by 10%. Excellent job at Winman. Now, we also have the math to show you. And so we have 16% in the green, which means that 16% are on grade level in the fall for math. We compare it with how we're doing in the winter, and we see a huge increase, up 12%. Red, just like with reading, is down 9%. So we're seeing massive increases thus far. Excellent job, again, Winman. We have Veterans Memorial Middle School, where we are right now, very proudly, and they started off with 36% in the green for reading, and then we can contrast with how we're doing now, 44%, so up 8%, and red is gloriously down by 6%. We can then move on to math, and we have 19% in the green, and check this out, boom, up to 30%. So they're up 11%, and red went down 11%. I am just so proud of our middle schools, and next time at the school committee meeting, I'll be showing you how we're doing at the high schools, which also is very, very promising. All right, and so I just want to show you a couple adorable photos from our students over at Winman, and we see them working together, which we love to see. It's all about collaboration. I love the peace sign, the thumbs up. Obviously, they're having fun. Some great kids. And so we were able to have smaller classes for the most part at the middle schools and the high schools. They had approximately 5 to 7 students in their groups. And so I can't wait to show you more at the next meeting. Thank you.
And the same but different at elementary for the diagnostic period. I sort of didn't go with the triangle model. I went sort of with the rectangle model. The graph on the left-hand side are our fall scores, and the graph on the right are our winter scores. So I broke it down by grade level. These are ELA or reading. As Dr. Schultz said, the green is on or above grade level, the yellow is 1 year below grade level, and the red are 2 or more years below. So I'm not going to read the whole chart to you, but let's take third grade, for instance. Third grade started at 46% proficient. We went up to 64% proficient across all 13 elementary schools. We were at 23, 1 or more years below, and we went down to 17%. And then red, the big jump, 32%, red down to 18%. So again, same kudos to our teachers, our students, and our families for this incredible data. And then same but different in math. We want green to go up, we want yellow to go down, and we want red to go way down. So again, even our littles in kindergarten from 24% up to 55%, probably the biggest hike in all of our data right there. So our teachers can't be working any harder than they already are. To promote round 2 of our extended day academies, we're going to try to focus on our students who are 1 year below grade level in reading and math, and really focus our attention for small group instruction for our kiddos that are so close that with a little more love and attention, they'll be green bunnies in no time. So thank you. And thank you to our IT AV guy for this great remote.
Thank you very much for that presentation, and I personally am going to say that was amazing. I'm glad to see our scores are going up, and Warwick is helping our kids during this pandemic, so I appreciate all your hard work. Mr. Testa?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Is this thing on? Okay. Dr. Schultz and Ms. Cousineau, thank you very much. Obviously, we've made some good progress. My compliments to you and everybody involved, the teachers, for any support staff there. We still have a lot of work to do, but this is very encouraging. What kills me in that data is you can't see those kids on the cusp, right? How many of those yellows are like this far away from green, right? I don't know if you can see that in the data. You can see it. Okay, that's good. So you know what the potential could be for this, right? So I just want to thank you. You know, I wear achievement like a figurative scarlet A over here. So I'm very encouraged and very pleased. Thank you for all the hard work, everybody. Thank you.
I too want to
Ms. Bogus?
working? There we go. I too would like to thank you both. My question is, how do we get rid of the red? What will it take? What will it take to get rid of the red? Are those kids that are just, are they, what's that is there anything particular to that demographic in the population that?
So we do spend a lot of
creates
time
that?
analyzing that. We will be having upcoming grade level meetings at all of the elementary schools in the next couple of weeks where they'll really analyze and they'll be able to see and drill down right to the particular student. When we dig deep into those reports, we can look right at the domains and we can see exactly, do they know numbers and operations, but they don't know geometry and measurement and things like that. So we can drill right down to that. And we also added the full-time math interventionist this year. So we're hoping that all of these great things that we have in place will certainly we'll keep seeing the rewards of our hard work.
Thank you so much for all you're doing. I wish this happened 10 years ago.
Absolutely.
I'm glad it's happening now.
And I could just piggyback on that. One of the things that we're doing at the middle schools and high schools is we've just started to pilot an excellent program called Read 180 for all of our students that are in intervention. And so all those students that are in red and yellow, we'll be able to move them forward because it's a research-backed program that's excellent, right at the teacher's hands. They can use it. It'll help the students, and it moves with the students at their level to really push them. And we're doing a lot of great things. At the elementary level, we're also hoping to, it's in the works right now, to hopefully promote 2 of our reading and 2 of our math interventionists to be leaders, and they'll be another layer of support so that they can go into the schools and model and help coach. And so that'll be at an upcoming meeting. We have a lot of great things going on, and we've created some new intervention guidance that has recently gone out from the curriculum department for everyone from grades K through 12 to really help those students that are in the red, and lots of resources for teachers that was shared with principals today, and so teachers should be getting that in their hands shortly. But we are doing everything that we can to make sure those students are getting what they need. Small group instruction is really the way to meet the students' needs, giving the students voice and choice and differentiating to meet their levels and their needs, and just making sure that students are enjoying school. So we're really trying to do that, and our new curricula that we've adopted is really going to help with that.
That's fantastic, because that achievement is so important, and I don't want to see more kids. We have kids that graduated last year that can't read or write. And I don't know how that happens. But they could turn around and sue the district because it's criminal. And it's really criminal if they went 12 or 13 years through Warwick. So I'm really excited about what's going on. Thank you.
Thanks.
Yes, Mr. Adams.
I would reflect the sentiments. Great job. I love to see the improvement. My only question is actually something that you just had brought up. Apparently, my volume was very down, but in terms of enjoying school and enjoying the program, like that was something that you hit on. Some of the kids who said that they didn't want to do it next time, or so on and so forth. Did you get feedback from them as in a way to potentially improve the program from their perspective next time?
So I can't speak really for the elementary, but at the middle school we have, I guess they're older students obviously, and at the high school level there's an open-ended question where they can give feedback and really write in how they felt. So if they did feel strongly one way or the other about the enjoyment level, they can tell us why or why not. But that's definitely something that we can follow up on with the teachers and see, what they would change in the future to make it more enjoyable for the students. But I do think the vast majority really did enjoy it. There were only a couple that said that they, 20 were unsure if they wanted to do it again. So that's, pretty good odds,
Yeah.
So, but we'll have to dig into that a little bit more.
And the high school ones, you're presenting next month, right?
Yes, I just, the survey, we had a week delay starting. I wanted to stagger the times just to see how things were going with Mrs. Cousineau, and then modeling the way that we laid it out for the secondary schools. And so ours are a week after, and so I will have all that data for you next time.
Awesome. Thank you.
Madam Chair?
Mr. Colonel?
So, I think this is great what you're doing with this program, especially regarding pandemic, because that hasn't made it easy for students to learn. So thank you for doing this. And I think compared to 4 years ago with the school administration, I think you're doing a fantastic job. This is so forward-thinking. I'm glad you're including everyone, all the stakeholders, teachers, everyone. And I think I'm very excited about this. And things are a lot different than they were 4 years ago. And I think we're on a path in the right direction. So thank you.
Thank you, and I just have to say that Superintendent Dambrick is a big proponent of getting everybody's input, and that's one of the first things that she always says is, did you survey the parents? Did you survey the stakeholders? So I would give kudos to her too.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to discussion action on the teacher substitute rate increase requests. Mrs. Ruggieri and Superintendent Dambrick.
Good evening again. I come before you tonight again asking for an increase in substitute rates. But before I get into the what I'm asking, I want to get into the why I'm asking it. As you know, especially after Christmas break, we were faced with extreme staff shortages. The teachers were doing what we asked them to do. They were out, either they were quarantined, they had symptoms, their children were sick. We tried to be as creative as we could. There were times we had to close schools and classrooms. But believe me when I tell you, without the subs that we have, we would have had to close the district. I really honor the work that they've given us. And you might remember that this year was the first year that we really implemented building subs. And what we expected to happen did. They're very supported in the schools. The principals love them. The school community loves them. But what I didn't consider was that the rate we were paying them was very similar to that we were paying building aides. And although building aides are very valuable as well, the responsibility of a building sub is much more. So in this proposal I put before you, I am requesting a separate rate for building subs, both certified and non-certified. As you heard from the public comment earlier, other districts are poaching. It's supply and demand. I sent out a survey at the beginning of the year, and since then, other districts have raised their rates to be higher than ours, quite frankly. So it's supply and demand, and I think if we don't do this, we are putting ourselves in jeopardy of not being able to open schools again if we have another surge, as well as respecting the work that they do. I do think that it's prudent for me to tell you that this is not a budgeted expense. Mr. McGrath did put together a fiscal impact, and if we were to keep the same level of substitute use that we have for the past few months, we're looking at somewhere between $100,000 and $125,000. I know that sounds like a lot of money. I understand it's a lot of money, but I just don't think we can afford to not do it and lose the people that we have. The good news is we are coming off the surge. We hope that the sub-usage will go down. We're hoping cold and flu season is over. We're hoping as the weather gets warmer. But as we know, those are all unknowns, so I did want to mention that. But I do ask for favorable action on the proposal as presented.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I would like to agree with Mrs. Ruggieri. Working closely with HR, I see the struggles that we have to get substitutes to cover teachers who have to be quarantined or who are ill or a long-term illness. So we have to be very competitive, and we did the same thing last year, and it really paid off. So I also ask for your approval.
Yes, Ms. Bacchus?
I'd like to move approval on this at this time. And I think this is very necessary because we need to not only bring in qualified, good subs, but we need to keep them. We need that consistency. And it's a few more dollars, but it's well worth it. And substitute teachers have been underpaid. Those who teach have been underpaid for years. And has started that those salaries actually have gone up. I mean, you could work at McDonald's and make more money in a day starting before last year than you could as a substitute in most school districts, not just Warwick, but throughout the state. So we need to keep an eye on that and make sure that people want to come here. Thank you.
Mr. Testa?
I'm gonna second Ms. Backus's motion. I support this. Actually, I thought the fiscal impact would be bigger than this. Ms. Ruggieri, you and I talked, and I reached out to people on RIAS to find out what other districts are paying their subs, and share that with you as well. You know, at the end of the day, call it what you want, there's a market for substitute teachers. So you're either gonna be competitive or you're not. If you're not, you're gonna pay the price for that. So I have no problem with this at all. I think I loved the idea of building subs. I liked it several years ago when it was first proposed. We didn't do anything with it. But I think from an efficiency standpoint, from a functionality standpoint, and a continuity standpoint, it makes perfect sense. And if the impact is $100,000 to $125,000, I think it's money well spent. So I'm in favor of it.
Madam Chair?
Yes, Mr. Cornell?
Yeah. So while this is not a budget expense, this is definitely an issue that we need to address. We've had, it's been difficult against subs for many years now, even before the pandemic, and with the pandemic has gotten even worse. Like I remember when I was in high school, there was actually a class that there was no sub and actually no teacher, so no one was there for the entire class, which wasn't good. But yeah, we definitely need to pair subs more. If you look at like West Warwick, like they're paying their subs a lot more than we are, and there is competition, and we need to compete for these subs so we can staff our classes. So I'm in support of this motion to increase the salary.
I actually have a question, but I'm in complete agreement of this too. I think we need to be competitive, and I think this is an area where we do have to spend the money. I do have a question though. We upped the amount during COVID, didn't we?
We did.
When did we go back down?
So last year we had upped it a little bit more than what we had this year. We had a grant to fund it.
Right.
So this year, pre-COVID, we were at $80 a day. and
Okay.
95 after 35 days, and then
Right.
step at day 135. I honestly don't think we can ever go back to that again.
I don't think so either.
And I don't think we should. So this year, we tried to kind of play the market and go down a little bit to be fiscally conservative. And now I'm up to close to where we were with the grant funding of last year.
Okay, my next question is, when it went up when we had to adjust it after that period of time, did we lose people? I'm just curious. This doesn't have anything to do with how I'm going to vote. I'm
We
just
may
curious.
have lost a few
Okay.
people who maybe had been in long-term positions and the teacher came back and then they lost their long-term assignment, they would take it in another district.
Okay.
But we
that's-
haven't had a
right.
mass exodus.
Okay, that was just I was just curious. Thank you. So, yes, Ms. Bacchus?
Ms. Ruggieri, do we have COVID funds that we can use to
That was my, yeah.
cover this
Well, we do have.
expense this year?
We do have ESSER funds available, but they are allocated for many things at this point. I think Ms. Danberg or Mr. McGrath could speak more to that.
Thank you.
Yes, we did in the ESSER 3 application submit for additional subs. Since it was COVID had such an effect on the need and use of subs, that it is being built into that budget. Yep.
Mr. McGrath, at some point, this is a recurring expense, right?
Correct, yeah. So when we budget for next year, we'll have to build in that rate. But we were seeing such a large number of subs that we're trying to pick up that difference using the ESSER
Right,
funds.
my point is simply, I mean, you know, if you want to use, we can use ESSER funds for this, but
Right.
that goes away, and
Correct.
that doesn't mean that what we have to do goes away. So, okay, thank you. And I'm sorry, one other question. Is this on a go-forward basis, or are we going retro?
I'm proposing going forward, however, whatever.
Right. No, I think
The will
going
of the
forward is,
committee.
yeah. Okay, thank you.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, the next item is discussion action, 2022 Rhode Island Student Survey. Superintendent Danberg.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair, members of the school committee. We received correspondence from the Rhode Island Department of Behavioral Health Care, the Rhode Island Department of Health, and the Rhode Island Department of Education. And they ask us to implement the Rhode Island Student Survey every other year, and this is the year that we are to do it, 2022. The survey looks at factors and conditions to which youth may be negative behavioral health outcomes, and they take the results of the survey to put together some programs to support children in the community and our youth in the community. So before the survey can be given to the middle and high school students, it does need school committee approval. I believe you have a sample of some of the questions in the survey.
Yes, Ms. Bacchus?
I move approval. I think this is important to figure out where kids are at this point in time with these issues.
Second.
All in favor?
Madam Chair, I have a
Oh, you
couple
have
of
a
questions. Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Testa.
When my kids were in school, we always took these surveys, and my wife and I would take them, the adult SALT surveys. But I think it's important, because I did read some of the questions, and these are given to grades 6 through 12. And to be frank, I think some of the questions deal with issues that a parent may not feel appropriate for their 6th grader or 7th grader. So the state does allow, you can opt out of this, right? I think it's important that we as a district and from the school level let parents know that if their child is uncomfortable answering a certain question, don't answer it, right? And the child has the option to, the parent has the option to opt the child out. I would hope they wouldn't opt them out. If there are some questions that the child's uncomfortable with, just advise your child, don't answer it if you're not comfortable. But that's all, because these tests, as we all know, become lightning rods. And no one's forcing anyone to do anything here. and that's how it should be. So as long as we communicate that out, I mean, the data, a lot of the data from this is good data to have. You really need to know what's going on with kids, right, from a school level. So I have no problem with the survey as long as we just communicate to parents, you know, what they can and can't do, right? So that's it. Other than that, I'm fine.
Madam Chair, we certainly, Mr. Tester, can put something out to all parents.
The parents, and then it's fine. I don't want us to be accused of trying to force something, all right, because that's not what we're about here. So thank you, Superintendent.
Sorry, I just wanted to mention that this, this survey is being done in conjunction with BHDDH, which is mental health and substance abuse issues and things like that, along with Rhode and the Department of Health. So trying to get that full picture as best we can to see where our kids need help the most and to try and plug that in. And, thank you.
Before we finalize the vote, I would just like to say, I hear from a lot of parents, I read a lot of things that they're very concerned on their child's mental health during this pandemic. I agree with Mr. Testa that we need to also tell the parents that this is out there, and hopefully they encourage their student to go and fill it out, because it is good for us to have this type of knowledge. And the only way we all have to work together, because the only way we're going to get through what has been created because of the pandemic, we need to know what's out there, and we need to know what's going on, and this is how we're going to find it. So I highly encourage parents to have their children do this so we can know. We can't help if we don't know. And unfortunately, a lot of our surveys, we get a very low, we send them out to everybody and we get a low number back for the amount of students or parents that are in this district. And we don't send these out for fun. We send these out because we do want to improve and we do want to help. So I'd like to encourage all the parents to please work with us and have their children fill these out. So on that note, we have the motion on the table. It's been seconded. All in favor? Aye. Thank you very much. And now we move on to discussion update of our FY 2022 monthly financial report and preliminary year-end report, and with the requisitions approved from $500 to $4,999. Mr. McGrath.
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the school committee. Before you, you'll find my monthly fiscal update. One thing I want to note tonight is I am in possession of the city's fiscal audit. This is the first time since probably 2014 that the city's been able to complete the audit within the month of January, February. It was completed in May last year. For me and my team, this is a huge accomplishment to have it this early in our hands. This is a heavy lift this year, so I want to thank everyone, but just so you know that it's done. Thank you.
Madam Chair, I have a...
Mr. Testa?
Mr. McGrath, last time I asked you to, are we at a point yet where we know where the ESSER funds are going?
Yeah, so those were all assigned. That submittal was due by Dr. Cecil the 31st. I'm planning on wrapping all that into my March projections and have that fully projected out along with the audit results. So.
Okay, so if I look at the supporting document you gave us, there are some very large variances here on particular line items. Does that have anything to do with ESSER?
Yes, the way that the 22 budget was constructed is causing those variances, so I'm planning on reprojecting and fixing all those issues we had along with building in what Dr. Cecil has done.
Great, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Thank you, Mr. McGrath. Moving on to number 6, discussion action, contract award for the Career and Tech Center, the Mercury outboard engine, Mr. Kane.
professionals in the field, educators, not on. I'm used to it without it, so. So everything we do there right now is being targeted to those industry-specific standards. Right now, Marine Trades Program, it's always an excellent program. He's been lacking a motor that best reflects what the industry has out there today with the most current technology. So all of these purchases right now are being done through categorical and Perkins funding at no cost to the district. So that's what I'm seeking, permission to go forward and, you know, buy that outboard engine. Yes?
Yes, Ms. Bacchus.
I've gone through these, and I would like to move approval on number 6, the Mercury outboard engine, number 7, the 14-passenger activity bus, number 8, the wardrobe lockers, number 9, the 3-phase extreme duty planner, number 10, the business lab computer equipment, number 11, the Cad Lab computer equipment, number 12,
Ms. Bacchus?
Burns Tools.
Hold on a second.
Yes.
Just, I think that for the moment, just because the one motion or the one agenda item that's currently on the table is the outboard engine, if we could just stick with that one for the time being, and then each one will be addressed.
So we have to do one at a time?
Oh, we have to do them one at a time? We don't, sometimes we just, they're, okay, well, I certainly,
I don't mind bulking them, but I think some people might have some questions in between.
yeah, I move approval on the motor at the very least, so.
Do we have any questions, comments?
No, I second the motion.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, the second item is a 14-passenger school activity bus. As you know, all of our students go out for work-based learning. Right now, we have a bus that failed inspection last year. We have 2 other buses that are probably right behind it. We have a brand-new construction trades bus. So the goal is, right now, we had an excellent bid for that bus. I'd like to buy one now, and another one will be right behind it with funding coming up.
Move approval.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay, and now the wardrobe lockers.
Wardrobe lockers are for the Marine Trades Program as well. We're looking to have a secure location for students to lock up their tools. Right now, standard lockers, they just don't cut it. So these are a little bit bigger, a little bit more conducive to the classroom. Once again, it was an excellent bid.
Say it again.
Move approval.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
The 3-phase extreme duty planner, 22-0019.
Yep. 3-phase extreme duty planner is a high-level planner. It's going to be using the construction trades program. You know, essentially they plane wood. You know, it's pretty self-explanatory.
That's going to be awesome.
But it's a great piece of equipment, and the longevity is usually a good 15 years on it. So it's money well spent.
Move approval.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And the business lab computer equipment?
Business lab computer equipment is a combination of both hardware and software to make sure that room is up to the industry-specific standards, and I think the goal of that program is to continue to build upon those numbers. And you know, we all know North Kingstown has a business program, so we want to be able to compete with that. But once again, it's categorical and Perkins funding, so it's money well spent.
Move approval.
Second.
All in favor?
Madam Chair, if I just may to say something to Mr. Kane, you're exactly right. North Kingston has a plan. I think our plan is deeper, more substantive, but for some reason, like, that's not recognized by the people in the state who should recognize that. So,
Agreed.
Thank you.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. On to the Cad Lab computer.
The Cad Computer Lab, it's extremely, it's a notch up from what we have right now. It solves 2 problems. One is the hardware issue we're having, and the other issue is we can, if we buy this, have a room that's a standalone room. We don't have to rely so heavily upon the district. You know, sometimes when the district had issues Wi-Fi wise or connection wise, you can lose a lot of the data that's stored in those computers. There's a lot of high-end architectural drawings. There are city projects in there. So this would allow that room to function, you know, not completely independently, but a lot more independently than it is right now with state-of-the-art equipment.
Excellent.
Move approval.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. And then the Burns tools,
I think there are 2 change orders there. They were just a matter of small discrepancies on bills. You know, also upping the, a lot of times we have a PO that starts off at, let's say, $4,900, and we have to bump that up as funding comes in. And that's something that's begun this year. So we've had some change orders to that effect.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Actually, Mr. McCaffrey, is this the same saw that we've been looking at for at least a year or 2?
I'm not sure.
It was last year that we, not last fall, but the fall before, that we
yeah, there was a saw, I do remember that.
they put in for one and we stopped it, and then it never came back before us.
I do remember that.
I don't believe so. I believe it's something different.
Okay. Thank you.
It doesn't look.
I move approval.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. And let's see, the last one is the Cisco.
Yeah, I believe that one, that was a purchase order that had to be bumped up to be reflective of the total dollar amount. A lot of times we start off the year with just under $5,000 to get the program, you know, off the ground, and then it's dependent upon state categorical funding and Perkins funding to see really where we're going to bring that up to. And this year we changed the way we were going about some of that through the business department to make it a little bit more streamlined.
Madam Chair, I have one question. So,
Yes,
Mr. Kane or
Mr. Testa.
Ms. Machado, so is this essentially? Oh,
Move approval.
all right. Second, and I have a question.
Discussion.
Is this essentially we just kept an open PO? We just kept it open?
Yeah, we have an open PO for Cisco. So normally we start, you know, under the $4,900 mark to get off the ground, and then it depends upon when state releases the funds, we start to bump it up to be more reflective.
So the 4,900 allows you to just go ahead and buy it without our approval, right?
At the beginning of the year, yes.
Yes,
Yeah, 'cause
okay,
they start off
okay.
with the
That,
initial cost.
that was, when I saw the difference, I circled it with a big question mark on it, because that's
Yeah.
not normal, so, but I get it now.
If I can just comment, Mr.
Yep.
Testa, so we're asking, especially CTC, because they have so many open POs and they have to do change orders once they get the funding, we prefer that they come and ask for approval for the amount that they need for the year, just so there's transparency, and then they just follow the process and procedures of purchasing throughout, so.
Makes sense. That's good. Thank you.
All in favor? Aye. Next
Okay,
item is.
thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kane. Discussion action on the bid award for the Reach-In refrigerators. Ms. Machado.
Sure, I'm here for approval to award Kittredge Equipment for bid 2200-18 for Reach-In refrigerators for each of our elementary school kitchenettes.
Move approval?
Madam Chair, just a question.
Yes, Mr. Testa.
It says it's funded through the SNP Emergency Operating Costs Program. What's the SNP?
SNP is the school nutrition program. We have a lot of acronyms in the field, so.
Okay. I'm used to calling it lunch, but I get it. Thank you.
We have breakfast too, don't forget.
All in favor? Aye. On to the next, contract award for curriculum, discovery, education, social studies, and SEL professional development. Dr. Schultz.
Good evening, everybody. I come before you to ask for approval of this budgeted expense. It is for 12 hours of professional development for our teachers in grades K through 8 who have access now to professional development that is about social studies, social emotional learning, current events, things of that nature. It's a great resource that we have for our teachers. And we've expanded it into the elementary schools this year, which is great because the current events, they're current. So where a textbook obviously can become not so current, this way we can keep on top of things. And so this professional development really complements that resource that we have. So I'm asking for your approval.
Move approval?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Schultz. Okay, discussion action, the contract award for the curriculum, the Clsd Grant, new high school English program into literature, Dr. Schultz.
Yes, thank you. And so this is a grant-funded purchase. The entire purchase will be covered by the Clsd Grant, which is the comprehensive literacy grant for the secondary schools. Rhode helped us out by, granting us this. It was a large application process years ago to get the grant, but it's helped us fund our new curriculum, which has to be green, which means it's the highest quality. And so when I came on this year, I was told that, just like Mrs. Netko said, the teachers weren't so happy with Study Sync. They were trying a different program called My Perspectives at the beginning of this year. They were not happy with that one as well, so we did the deepest dive that we could in a short amount of time into a third program, into literature. The vast majority of teachers voted an astounding yes, that they enjoyed this program. They felt that the online platform was easier to navigate than the other ones. They felt that the students connected more with the, with all the literature that's involved and even some of the activities. And so with knowing that the teachers are on board, which is very important to us, obviously, I just want to ask for us to purchase it now so that we can get ahead of the game, get the teachers trained in the new program, and that way we won't have to wait until next year to have high quality curriculum materials in front of our students.
Excellent. Any discussion?
Move approval?
Second.
All in favor?
I have one question for
Mr.
Dr.
Tucker.
Schultz. The curriculums are green, and you did explain what green is. And essentially, the curriculums have to align with what we're assessing the kids on.
Yes.
Right? Mm-hmm. Because if it doesn't,
it's not green.
It's illogical to me.
Exactly.
So
right.
it's good that we have to get all green curriculums. So I'm pleased. I'm ready to support this. It just, this all ties into achievement, right? Because if not only individual achievement, but district achievement. If we're teaching curriculums that we're not really asking the kids to, we're not measuring them on, the twain shall never meet. So now we're going to have twain's meeting. So thank you.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Dr. Schultz. The next two items are with Mr. Oliver, the Tollgate locker room and the Tollgate outside lighting.
Good evening. I'm requesting your approval of these contracts. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Do we have any questions, comments?
I'd like to move approval and make a comment.
Second.
All in favor?
No, I
well,
said
we
I'd like
have-
to, if anybody wonders if the price of wood and materials is going up, all you have to do is look at that purchase order, and it's over $100 for a 3/4 sheet of birch plywood, which is crazy. We used to pay 40-something for it
That's correct.
just a couple of years ago.
Madam Chair?
Yes, Mr. Cornell?
So, why for these lockers, why are they being made out of wood instead of metal?
Why are they being made out of wood and not metal?
Yeah.
We're trying to save money and just vet out the rest of the locker room as it is right now for use for the upcoming school year. Because of NIAS visit, we had to do some improvements there for accreditation.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
All in favor? Aye. The outside lighting?
Move approval?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank
Moving
you.
up.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Oliver. Appreciate it. Thank you for all your hard work during the storms, too.
Thank you very much.
I know it was rough. Discussion action, the contract award for technology, Xerox, CBS, multifunction device lease renewal. Dr. Taylor?
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the school committee. What we have before you this evening is a proposal to renew our copy machine lease. Our lease terms are up in June, and so we find it prudent to act on this now, especially in foresight of supply chain issues, chip issues. We wanted to make sure that we had a good solution in front of you. We've worked with our vendor Xerox and CBS for a number of years. We do have a very good relationship with them. Shout out to them. Their help during the Sherman move was instrumental. They jumped on that immediately. No charge to the district to make all those moves. And that went a long way with us. And also their response to any issues that we have with the copy machines have been stellar. And so it's with those items in mind that we're looking to renew a 39-month lease with Xerox and CBS. It's actually, it's already budgeted for the current year, and it's actually budget opposite, I would even say, because there's savings involved. By renewing the lease now, we would save approximately $772 a month for starting immediately, running through the end of our term, at the end of 39 months. And additionally, as part of that renewal agreement, we would be looking to replace 41 of our existing machines out of our fleet of approximately 78 with brand new devices. And that would certainly cut down on the number of repairs. And that ultimately affects our end users and the teachers, the faculty and staff. As copy machines go down, we want to make sure that we eradicate those issues and get new machines in those buildings. So for all those reasons, I would ask for favorable approval.
Move approval.
Second.
Questions, comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
And next one is the technology for the Chromebooks, the parts, which I'm sure we need. Oh, no, I skipped one, I'm sorry. The technology that Aptigee Communication Platform Website Design District App. That's again with Mr. Taylor, Dr. Taylor, sorry.
Yep, and I defer to Ms. Danbrook.
Yes. Madam Chair, members of the school committee, when I became superintendent, one of my goals was to improve our website. Our website is extremely difficult to navigate and to find information. And that's the key place where parents and students and the community members look for information about what is going on in the district. Mr. Taylor, I went to see Mr. Taylor in the fall, and I said, we've got to do it this year. And thank you, Dr. Taylor, excuse me. Thank you, Dr. Taylor, for leading this initiative. So if you could go on, we have a nice company that we are comfortable moving forward with. If you could get into the details of the process.
Sure, thank you, Superintendent. So as Superintendent Danbrook mentioned, this was a priority for the district, and really, coming out of the schools myself as a school administrator and as a teacher, parent community communication is paramount, and our website is very clunky at best, and so we know that we needed to make a move in this direction. I appreciate the superintendent's leadership on this initiative, and we started the process by looking at 6 different possibilities. We looked at products that were designed for K-12 schools, school districts, and we also looked at, even just to kind of go back to how our current website was developed, companies that build websites and leave you with the website and move on. And we weighed all those options. We narrowed it down to 2 potential possibilities, 2 solutions. And from those 2 solutions, we got a larger team together that included folks from central office as well as building leaders. And we got those folks together to take a look at those 2 options. The one we have before you for approval this evening is a company called Aptigee. They do a number of websites in the state as well as districts across the country, approximately 2,500 school districts. And what we like about that product is that it interfaces a few things that we have that are living separately right now. Blackboard Connect is our ConnectEd parent staff communication tool. This program would interface the website along with those features as well. So now posting on the website or making a web page becomes as easy for anybody that does it as writing an email and sharing that information via the website, also through a click of a few buttons. Can also post it on a Facebook page of a school, a Twitter feed of a school, text the parents the information, also any other Instagram, any other social media platforms. Also turn that into what we would call a connected phone call. So it's one platform that will serve all those different purposes. Additionally, what we liked about this vendor is Aptogy. In the name is app, and that's really what they focus on as well. So in addition to a very user-friendly web experience, families, teachers, staff can download an app that through the app can just give a quick click to certain features of information that's posted on the website. So really it puts a lot of relevant, timely information into everybody's hands. So that's what we're looking for approval on this evening. It is a budgeted expense through the ESSER 3 funding, but then it's also a budget neutral expense moving forward because we would not be seeking renewal of Blackboard Connect in next year and the subsequent years, as well as some of the other web tools that we use.
Move approval.
I'd second, and I have a couple of questions.
Okay, Mr. Testa?
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Taylor. Thank you, Superintendent. I'm just trying to, I have the pricing schedule here. So 5-year contract is, I'm just trying to figure out the total here. $19,500, there's a $5,800 discount. And the Thrill Share, which is their proprietary piece, is $32,000. So it's about $49,000 a year? Is that what it is?
Correct. So on that pricing schedule that you have before you, it's a one-time setup fee of $19,500. That's for the district website as well as all. Our student count's actually a little bit lower, so that would be adjusted down just a little bit more specific. And we'd be seeking the 3-year option because the 3-year option is what jives with the ESSER funding, allowing us to purchase something for 3 years. And then that reoccurring cost at approximately $32,000 would be the annual fee moving forward after year 3, when the ESSER money is no longer available for us. And that's where it becomes budget neutral, because Blackboard we currently spend approximately $27,000 or so a year on, plus a site improved license for about $4,500.
Right.
So it ends up being budget neutral moving forward.
Right, and I emailed you a series of questions yesterday, and you answered every one of them, because I did have some concerns initially, but you answered everything for ease of use and who the references were, et cetera, et cetera. I really like the idea of being able to do one action and then it spreads out among a variety of platforms, because I'll say, I've said it since before I was elected to come up here, communication has always been a sore point for me with the district. And we have a cumbersome way of communicating. And parents today, especially the generation after me, do everything with this. You need apps, you need to communicate with this, we do everything with this now. And we're not really set up to do that. So we're not meeting parents where they are. So I'm excited about this, the ease of use, and I can remember with filling out the first day of school forms with all that health information for my kids and everything else. I assume that this could be done online from a parent, no more handwriting those stupid yellow cards at the elementary level. And I meant that, because if you have 3 in at the same time, it's a pain in the neck. So I'm grateful for this. I look forward to its implementation, because, as we mentioned earlier, if we're going to have to get a message out about potentially building new high schools, we need an all-hands-on-deck approach. We need technology that can help us communicate that. So if we can have this in place in time for that, it would just make that task a lot easier. So thank you.
And one important aspect that our team looked at was communication only works when it works from both directions, right? So this makes it very easy for those sharing information to post information, and also very easy for those that need and receive the information to access the information. So hopefully that will rectify the current shortcomings of our current system.
And we can tailor it by school. I mean, I've visited different schools' websites, and you go to East Providence High School, granted one high school, but every day they've got multiple posts on that website about what the basketball team did or what this club did. And that's spreading the good news, right? Because it doesn't matter what district, we're all in competition with each other now, for good or for ill. So we have to spread our good news, and we need an easy way to do that. So Thank you.
And hopefully this will, hopefully this will be good for parents, because they've been complaining for years that they can't get into stuff to see their kids' scores and different things like that. So if they have one place to go and it's easy and there's a nice app, then it'll be great. Thank you.
Dr. Taylor, you want to go? Mr. Cornell? Okay. This has been obviously a hot topic for me right now. Recently, we've had a lot of problems with the buses and the buses being late, so we can utilize this also for the bus information, correct?
Absolutely,
Okay.
yes. Yep.
Now, so is it very user-friendly?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm just asking, okay? I'm just asking.
And that was important too, Madam Chair, why we assembled a team together, because what might be user-friendly from my eyes may not be user-friendly for somebody else.
How fast can we get this up and running?
So
my next
the
question.
normal time frame to migrate, because this company will also migrate all of our content over, certainly the content that we want migrated over at the district and the school levels. They say 60 to 90 days to migrate everything over.
Okay.
And so the next phase will be working with the different schools as well as the district offices on that.
Okay, so my other question is, if it takes that long, my other question was, can all the administrators add information to that, or is it just a direct, the superintendent or office, or you, or whomever else? Who can do that?
So anyone that we have, that we give the privileges to do different features within the
Okay.
program can do those features.
Okay, so when it comes to the bus stuff, Ms. Machado can shoot everything out?
Sure can.
Okay, great.
So I just want to be transparent here. So when we message out for buses, it would have to, and I think it does, because I've actually talked to Dr. Taylor and his team about it, it would have to be specific to the bus, to the school, because we don't want to message out to everyone, all, 8,000. So we would just message out to the 6,000 that ride. So I just want to make sure.
Okay, I don't want to get off topic at all. I just know that with the buses, the way they've been, this is a very sore spot with the community right now, and we really need to be able to tell them before they leave the house that the bus might be a half hour late. So I'm glad this app will work for this. And the motion is out. It's been seconded. All in favor? Oh, Mr. Cornell wanted to add something.
Yeah, so, Dr. Taylor, so this, the price for this is around $32,000. Is that the average for, updating websites, from your experience?
Yeah, yep. So in looking at those different vendors, when we narrowed it down to the last two, that's very comparable amongst the different vendors that do the tools that we're looking to do. Other options which our committee did not entertain much at all was the current system where you hire a firm. That bid came, or that quote came in at over $100,000 to build a website and walk away. So this is an annual subscription based on the number of students, but that is consistent with what we're looking at. And their pricing, working with Ms. Machado, their pricing certainly through the contracts and purchasing agreements all check out as well.
Okay, and I'm glad that we're updating the website, because like a few years back, the school district paid around $40,000 to update the website, and actually it made it worse, and like, so that was a big waste of money, so I'm glad that you're updating it. And one thing with this is like I completely agree with Mr. Testa, communication must be key. That's very important for updating a website, so I'm glad that you're doing this. And with the old website, will be terminated once the new website's in effect?
Oh, yes, yep, when that moves over, and we have the new website, there'll be no need for the old website, yep.
Yeah. That's good, because still the old website, you can actually still get to it, the old Warwick Public School website, so it'll be good the current won't be terminated. Maybe you could look to terminate the other one as well. So.
Yeah, the new website will point to our current domain, so one day you'll go to log into www.warwickschools.org, and it will be a whole new experience.
Okay, thank you very much for answering my questions.
Okay, Mr. Adams?
Now, I just wanted to clarify exactly what Dr. Taylor just said. But I will also, though, just reflect the same sentiments. I understand technology is a big thing, and as you know, I'm a huge supporter with technology. And like I use my phone more than I use my computer outside of work. So like it makes more sense to make something that's friendly for your phone rather than just the computer. So, yeah.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Taylor and Superintendent Damrick. Okay, the contract award for technology for the Chromebook parts.
Thank you, Madam Chair. That one's an easy one. We come before you throughout the year using our most recent technology parts bid, and what we have before you is the parts that we suspect that we'll need, that our technicians will need to continue to repair, and so we would ask for approval.
Move approval.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, we're on to our public comment where you can say anything. We have one sign up, and Darlene Necco, come on down. I always wanted to say that, sorry.
Hello again. I just wanted to commend the school committee and the school department for their presentation last night in front of the city council, answering questions and explaining the need for our new schools. Yes, it is a huge amount of money. It's a huge undertaking, but I think Councilman Ricks spoke very eloquently as to the reasons why we need to do this now as a city. If we don't do it now, when? And do it now while Rhode is going to reimburse at least, if not 40% or 50, maybe even more. We know that at the state level, there's a great appetite for improving schools. The new budget will have more money in for school improvement, and if we want our students to have the very best, and we really should, whether we have our own children or not, whether we're an elderly person or not, you know, to use a cliche, the children are our future. Teach them well and let them lead the way. They need a good place, a safe place, not just the minimum requirements of dry and warm, but an advanced place to learn. And this city does need to support the school system for once and build these schools. And so, as I started off, the school committee and the administration have worked very diligently to put together the presentation, the necessary documents and so on, and I know those plans are still conceptual. So those concerns that members of the public raised, that they didn't have any input, well, there might be an opportunity to change some things that are in there. Maybe we don't need the rock climbing wall. Maybe there is quite a bit of glass, you know, that we might not need. But we did have, the school department did have numerous meetings on this topic. Pandemic kind of got in the way of everything that was planned, but there were many meetings, school committee meetings, public forums, whatever the case might be. The public needs to pay more attention and not just wait until the last minute and then complain. But whether or not you are a resident, a homeowner, and a taxpayer who does or does not have children, for the sake of our city, we do need new schools. And I'm glad that the elementaries and the middle schools are being upgraded based on the bonds that have already been issued. Thank you. Oh, and just to echo, you know, the earlier discussion about North Kingston and other schools, we have a legitimate career and technical program in the city. We have a legitimate career and technical center. These quote unquote, you know, CTE programs that pop up at various high schools are not the same at all. North Kingston's business program is like a half year class in 9th grade, then a year class, then a year, and another half a year class. That is not the same as what our Career Center offers. And shame on the state of Rhode Island for creating this problem that pits our public schools against each other. Thanks.
Thank you very much. So future meetings, our monthly school committee meeting is Tuesday, March 8th of 2022. And that is the end. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I move to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. What do I have to wish you all? A happy Hallmark holiday, happy Valentine's Day. Hopefully we are getting warm weather and we won't get any more ice and snow.